This Stanley Cup Playoff Predictions edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WinBet. Bet $10 at WinBet and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WinBet. Download the WinBet app now or visit WinBet.com and start winning today. And make sure to download your home for all of our free picks and podcasts.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration. Over.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Sean, we can't be cold as ice for this episode. We can't. There's no way. We can't. We are talking. We got to be red hot, but then we melt the ice.
Oh, hot.
We are going to be talking Stanley Cup playoffs. Although I should say less talking, more listening.
This is going to be a
because
throwback, right? So you just full on copying the guests.
Yeah. Well, admittedly, I like watching Stanley Cup playoff hockey. I don't know a ton about it.
No Philly team awesome for you to love or get into.
We'll get into that, but. We're going to be joined in just a second by one of the hosts from the NHL, aka the Hockey Gambling Podcast, Ryan Gilbert. But yeah, bring him on. He's the expert. Let him tell us who to bet on and why you should subscribe to Gambling Podcast.
Like a great host.
Exactly. One thing we do have to get to up top. I've been getting a number of texts. People have reached out asking what was the deal with that running back from the Ravens that we interviewed. Yes, he was a fake draft pick who was just going around the NFL draft, presenting himself as a first round pick.
Yes.
I would have recommended going like third or fourth round. Maybe you could even fool. He ended up fooling a number of people. A couple of people in our audience fell for it. Bowser did ask. He goes, "Wait, who was that running back you had?" As I was doing a super deep dynasty draft, could not find him. And was that a bit? So yes, it was a bit. We were in on it, and shout out to those guys. That was a lot of fun. He got a lot of people believing that he was a running back for the Ravens. And
well, I mean, in person, like being in the moment, like anytime you saw anyone with a couple cameras by them with that kind of size, you assumed,
super tall dude with tats that has a camera crew following him. You think he's a draft pick in the NFL. All right, Ryan, before we get to the hockey, shout out WinBet, baby. Oh man, they have a ton of stuff going on for the NHL playoffs, aka Stanley Cup playoffs. WinBet, bet $10, get $200 in free bets. That's going on the WinBet Casino, 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. They also have some special promos around multi-leg hockey parlays. Check those out, and of course the WinBet Hour. Get the nice reduced juice between 2 and 3 p.m. Pacific time. So much to choose from. All you got to do is download that WinBet app or visit wynnbet.com to get started today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 and older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Joining us here on the line, one of the hosts of the Hockey Gambling Podcast, Flyers fan, Mr. Ryan Gilbert. Ryan, what's happening, man?
Yeah, glad for having me on here. I'm excited to have some exciting hockey to watch after watching 82 games of the Flyers. So night one last night did not disappoint, and hoping for 2 more months of that here heading into the playoffs.
Playoff hockey is like a completely different animal when it comes to just the intensity, the goal scoring. I know, like this season, again, I am a TMZ fan, as Colby would call me, of hockey, but goal scoring, we're seeing record numbers as far as just total goals scored in the regular season, right?
Yeah, goal scoring is way up. We got our first 60 goal scorer, Austin Matthews, in quite some time. Bunch of players just going over 100 points. Even the defenseman Roman Josi was in the 90s there. So yeah, scoring's way up. And so far, night one of the playoffs, there were a bunch of penalties, bunch of power plays, which some fans are complaining about out there, which for a good reason. But that should come down as the playoffs move along. But yeah, playoff hockey is a completely different animal. I feel like it's a cliche, as every sport is like, oh, the playoffs are different. But with hockey, it's an 82 game season, comes down to 7 games. It's just physical. It's the best thing to watch.
I think as a player of another honorable sport, rugby, I catch a lot of the same shades where like the referees do a very nice job of letting the players settle certain things on the ice. And I think from a playoff standpoint, that's what's great that's why the TMZ fan can immediately zoom into hockey because hockey's fun.
Yeah.
Well, you get to see people smash into each other, and guess what? Night 2, they're going to smash a little harder. Night 3. So look, again, very much a TMZ fan. Grew up with the Devils. Grew up with the Marty Brodeur Devils teams that are credited with ruining hockey, I believe, by most with the forechecking and all that shit. But I still do get a little tickle watching hockey and thinking about the things we used to scream at Chris Chelios and bang on the glass. So from a fan perspective, still one of my favorite things to do is to take the kids to a hockey game every year. Yeah, it's hockey bang for your buck. Or I'm sorry, playoff bang for your buck, as well as live in person atmosphere bang for your buck. Hockey's still very high on the list.
Now, as far as the reffing, well, more importantly, gambling experience in playoff hockey. So, meaning like, what is different about betting on playoff hockey versus betting on the regular season hockey?
I mean, playoff hockey is typically lower scoring, so you can try to get some unders there. And with playoff hockey, I have a few bets on the series. I have a few series I haven't bet yet. I'm betting game by game. You can try to wait to bet on a series until the team goes down a game or two. Try to think they're going to come back. So, I mean, it's just looking at these teams are going to know each other. It's going to get physical. It's going to be stuff where these teams played maybe a few times during the regular season, but now playing each other every other night. Once you get into the middle of the series, it's going to be intense hockey where you have some plays that I like to do are like puck line plus 2.5 under 6.5 goals parlay. You're going to get a close 3-2, 4-2 game that's going to cash for you. So stuff like that, I feel like there's a lot more options in the playoffs.
I heard something that very much sounded like some fun correlated options betting.
#Legends only.
I'm going to be like Go Bearcats, and I'm going to fall in love with betting on hockey.
Shout out to Go Bearcats in his hockey journey. He is a loyal listener, a big part of the SGPN family, and he just randomly joined, and correct me, fill in stuff where I'm wrong, but he just randomly joined the hockey Slack and was like, "Hey guys, I want to bet on hockey." He got under the wing of the Hockey Gambling Podcast guys, slowly figuring it out, started coming up with his own plays, his own system. He even joined you guys for an episode of the Calcutta draft. What a journey he's gone on.
Yeah, it's been great with Go Bearcats. I think Joel Meyer, one of the co-hosts of the Hockey Gambling Podcast, really turned him on at first, and then he joined us for the Calcutta draft. He told us his story. It was weird hearing his voice and trying to match that up with his personality in this. Yes. Now I can't unhear that, but yeah, it was great to have him on the Calcutta draft. I mean, he has a chance to win now. It was I feel like we're all pretty 4 evenly drafted teams there. So yeah, it's great to have him on the whole Slack community here for the Sports Gambling Podcast Network.
Yeah, and the hockey
especially
channel.
The hockey channel is always going off. I love to see it.
The hockey channel has really been popping off lately. Very fun.
It's low key the best channel.
Wow, right? Don't you're gonna get people chirping at you in the Slack.
I'm a data based guy, Sean, and I see what's going on over there.
Big heat map next to
and if you thought the matching the online text personality to voice was crazy, just wait till you meet him in person. He's all around. Just like he's going to be somewhere on the panel of the DGens only tribunal. I don't know what his role is yet, but there's a czar position for.
If there was a person to replace the Dos Equis man from our organization, it would 100% be Go Bearcats. Very interesting.
Yes,
guy on a number of levels.
He doesn't often drink beer, but when he does,
stay thirsty, my friends. All right, we're going to talk Eastern Conference round 1 matchups, Western Conference round 1 matchups. matchups, and then of course close it out with some Wednesday night games. All these lines courtesy our good buddies at WinBet. They have a ton of spreads up and even some alternate stuff, some future stuff. We'll get into all of that as we break this stuff down. Of course, want to shout out Trade Coffee. That's right. Mother's Day is coming up. Maybe your mom's a coffee lover like my mom. Again, who isn't a coffee lover? If you like betting on sports, you probably like the rush of a very good cup of coffee. And it is a rush because you get in the mail and the beans smell so good. They dial in your coffee that they send you. You take the coffee quiz. They match you with a nice cup of or whatever kind of beans, ground, whatever it is, they get you dialed in. And now they're offering you a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping. Just go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. And get started by taking their coffee quiz. Drinktrade.com/SGP and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/SGP for $30 off. And don't forget about Mother's Day. A Trade subscription is a perfect gift for the coffee lovers in your life. Ryan, let's maybe I'll just call him Gilbert.
Yeah, I was going to say you're gonna have to.
We have a lot of Ryans in our organization. Eastern Conference, Florida Panthers, and now they are playing tonight against the Caps. They're a big favorite at -400. Caps +300 coming the other way. Ovechkin banged up coming into this game. Feels like the Panthers should roll as the number 1 seed. Can you talk me into taking the Caps? And what's the play? Do you sprinkle on like a -1.5 games? How do you get paid on this one?
That's exactly the play I've been looking at in this one. This is my team here for the playoffs. You got Claude Giroux down there.
Oh, yeah.
Former Flyers,
Philly South
and net, Radko Gudas, Robert Haig down there. So the Florida Claude Giroux are my my team here in the playoffs. And I'm looking at the -1.5 games. You can get it -175. Yeah, that's a good price there because Capitals, they might be a bit competitive. They had to won the cup a few years ago, but as you said, Alex Ovechkin a little bit banged up, so not 100%. And the Panthers, they're just steamrolled teams, especially at home, so they should definitely get it done in 6 games or fewer.
Sean, do you remember the epic post Stanley Cup championship tour that the cup went on, but most importantly, Alex Ovechkin went on?
Yeah,
still in the hangover spot from that.
I mean, he was neck and neck for with J.R. Smith for someone who enjoyed winning a championship, and Ovechkin arguably did way more and a much better player. So you felt awesome for him, but certainly would have been a early nominee for Real Men of Degens. Alex Ovechkin. So. Moving over to the Maple Leafs versus the Lightning. Of course, you got a Leafs fan in on the Hockey Gambling Podcast. Kind of a haunted fan base, right? Like, walk us through the Leafs' history in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Leafs' history in the playoffs. Well, it's history. They haven't won. They haven't won a first round series since in the modern era, really, since the 2004-2005 lockout. Before that, I mean, they've choked away multiple leads in the playoffs, and they're in a position now to choke away another lead after a big 5-0 win in Game 1 on Monday. This was one of the series I was most excited about. You got the 2-time Stanley Cup reigning champion Lightning coming in. They just beat them 8-1 late in the regular season, but Toronto put up a statement win last night. So we'll see how this one goes, but I can't not bet. I can't bet against the Lightning right now.
No, and I'm so glad we're doing this podcast now, because I would have got in on the Lightning at +105, I think, in your picks article. Now the Lightning are up to +165 for the series. Leafs are -200, and Toronto getting out on that 5-0 lead, and now it's just the ultimate bounce back choke situation / bounce back for the Lightning. Like, stars are aligning here in an awesome way.
How many games does it take, though?
That's a good question. Does this get to 7? Does it get to 6?
Because I'm seeing Tampa Bay in 6.
Is this
6-1?
Woo-hoo.
Is that too crazy? Because we can get 550 on 7. Maybe we just bet. Feel free
to talk us off the ledge here, Ryan. We like to go. We like to let it ride.
Sprinkling both of those are pretty good. And in my article, the Leafs over the past 2 playoffs have lost, I think, a total of 13 games in 8 series. So they've gone to 7 games once. They've gone to 6 games, I think, 3 times in those series. So them getting it done in 6 could definitely happen. I could see them winning game 2, even the series, go back home, win both of them, and then lose in Toronto in 5, and then come back Tampa Bay, win it in game 6. So that's a great pick right there for the former Devils fan.
I appreciate that. It was fun to root for the Devils. Then we did win championships. Although whenever the Rangers would come to Brendan Byrne Arena, it would be so many Rangers fans. But the other than cheering Ray must go, Ray Hanley, of course, the guy who replaced Bill Parcells for the Giants. We chanting 1940. You want to talk about a cursed franchise? Chanting 1940 in the fans of the Rangers was the most beautiful thing we did as a team, as a Devils fan organization. And so when they won, it was 94, correct me if I'm wrong. When they won after those like epic playoff battles. Anyway, sorry. I digress.
I shouldn't have mentioned the Devils.
Yeah, come on. What are you doing?
The championship, they were really just them and the Yankees were dominating my childhood.
Moving over to the Metropolitan Division, you got the Carolina Hurricanes opened up as a -200 favorite against the Bruins, who are a +165. Or sorry, they opened up at -125. The Hurricanes. Now they're -200 after they won Game 1 against the Bruins. Bruins are now +165. They really put it on the Bruins, winning 5-1. I know in your article you were on the Canes at -125. I assume you still like them to win the series here.
Yeah, I think they're still a good pick to win the series. I don't know if I would lay the -200, maybe take a sprinkle at them to win in 6, something like that. But
+425.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Carolina had the Bruins number of the season. They swept the season series. Boston only scored 1 goal in 3 games in the regular season against Carolina. They got 1 in game 1. I think the line was so low because Frederik Andersen, their starting goalie, is injured, so he's out. But the Hurricanes can make pretty much any goalie look good. They had Alex Nedeljkovic last year, who really kind of did not do too well in Detroit this year. Peter Mrazek as well did not do too well in Toronto. So Carolina has a good deep team. Boston's tough with Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak, but I like Carolina. I like them at -125, and I think they'll get it done in 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to talk me into fading a Boston team.
I'm
That's
taking
just
notes.
juju.
So far, I have a 6-1 bet and a 4.25 1-to-1
We're
bet.
just going nuts here with these long shot stuff. Now, Ryan, how much do you factor in home ice, especially in the hockey playoffs? I feel like over the years it's become less of an advantage. But where are you at with, like, obviously in football handicap and the standard -3 for home field? But what do you factor in home ice these days?
I think home ice is still definitely important. You have especially now with the fans being back full capacity.
Yeah.
You have that aspect of it with them getting on other team, getting on other goalie. We saw the Leafs fans last night mocking Stamkos after he whiffed on a one-timer. You also have the last change, and you have this familiarity with your home arena. So I think that is definitely important. That I do lean to the home team. It's tough to win on the road during the regular season, is even tougher on the playoffs. So I do give the home team a bit of an advantage in every game of the playoffs.
So it sounds like it's still pretty live dogs, or sorry, still pretty like strong. I mean, strong handicap and angle.
It makes sense. Again, it's an atmosphere sport, and the playoff. I mean, the playoff atmosphere in any hockey arena is lit. I mean, even like the southern arenas, right? Which have to be. I would imagine the hockey purists have to hate all these southern cities, but Carolina has a legit, as Colby would say, lit fan base.
I was watching some of that Panthers Bruins game, and they Hurricanes fans seemed into it, right?
Yeah, they definitely are. And a few years ago, when Nashville was in the playoffs, they're in the playoffs again this year. They were one of the best atmospheres. So yeah, these southern teams are starting to take over. And yeah, the hockey purists cannot be a fan of that.
Isn't Bill,
the original?
Bill Cowher is somehow involved in the Carolina Hurricanes, right? I'm gonna look that up.
I think he was related to somebody that played something like that.
All right.
I vaguely remember that.
All right, let's move on to the Rangers versus the Pens. Game 1 is facing off here tonight. Right now, the series Pens +100, Rangers laying -120. I know you're leaning Rangers, but you also like over 5.5 games. What makes you think Rangers pull this out?
This is a big goaltending mismatch here. The Rangers have Igor Shesterkin, who's going to win the Vezina Trophy as the best goalie. He had a save percentage close to .940, which is one of the best in history. And the Penguins, I mean, they had a good goalie, Tristan Jarry, but he's out at least the first 2 games, a broken bone in his foot. Casey DeSmith's their backup. He's not quite as good. And no, it's always good to bet against the Penguins. So the Rangers also had their number in the regular season, winning the last 3 matchups, all kind of low scoring games, but I definitely see the Penguins winning 2 games. So Rangers in 6 or 7, if you want to sprinkle something on another long shot, but just Rangers to win the series at -120 would be my best bet.
I like your Pens trash talking. That is kind of one of my favorite things in hockey, is that between Pittsburgh and Philly, there's not really any of the any real sport rivalry except in hockey. Like football, it's not there. Baseball, it's baseball. Obviously, they don't have a basketball team, but hockey, the Pens and Flyers is always a fun rivalry. Of course, real quick sidebar. What can we do to fix the Flyers here, Ryan?
I don't know. Just
where do you start?
Tear everything down. Fire Chuck Fletcher. Bring in a new regime. Tank for Connor Bedard, who is looking like he might be the next Connor McDavid. We finally have a goalie, and we have nothing else.
Well, that's a good start, though. At least we got a goalie, Kramer.
Doc Rivers might be available.
Oh God!
And just a quick update: Bill Cowher no longer lives in Raleigh, so whatever involvement he may have had with the Hurricanes, he did ring the siren once back in 2009. Sold his home down there for $1.8 million.
You can ring the siren? I assumed it was just you flipping a switch. I don't, or maybe it.
You cranked the siren.
Okay. All right. Now there are Eastern Conference future odds out there. You got the Panthers +230, Leafs +375, Canes +400, Rangers at 6-1, Lightning 750, Pens 9-1. What you got any sort of sprinkles on the Eastern Conference futures?
I think the Hurricanes, their matchups line pretty well, especially after game 1. They showed that they can still beat the Bruins in the playoffs without their best goalie. And then if they win this round, and I think the Rangers beat the Penguins, the Carolina is clearly steps ahead of the Rangers. So then they're just in the Eastern Conference final, where it should be a toss-up, and they may have Anderson back by then. Look at the odds. The Lightning +750 if they going for a three-peat.
Yeah, they got that. They got the history behind them.
City of champions.
Maybe they don't, run it back all the way, but I like it. I like taking a 7-1 on a team that's won 9 playoff series in a row. That doesn't seem crazy to me.
Yeah, and then if it's not for me, but I feel like the Bruins at 11-1, if you think they might win this series, is a good bet because they could find their game. But as I said, I like the Hurricanes in that series, so I won't be taking that.
All right, we're going to slide over to the Western Conference. Before we do that, shouting out Sleeper. That's right. You're probably already downloaded the Sleeper Fantasy app because you're playing your season long, your dynasty. Sleeper is great for that. But now they've upgraded, also offering over unders, aka player props. So much fun sweating these things out in the NBA, MLB. You can win anywhere between 2x all the way up to 20x if you're a true
#Legends only.
Very easy to get started with Sleeper. Again, you probably already have the app downloaded. If you do, just click over under. If you don't, just type in Sleeper in the App Store. And again, when you're depositing, use that promo code SGP. 100% deposit match up to $100. Promo code SGP for a 100% deposit match. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. And Athletic Greens. That's right, Ryan. When I say I bleed green, I'm not only talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm also talking about the fact my veins are full of that delicious AG1. Helps me with better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system, 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. They got it all. 7,000 5-star reviews. The taste is great, easy to drink, and an awesome way to start your day. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D, 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you're going to do is go to athleticgreens.com/SGP. That's athleticgreens.com/SGP to take ownership over your nutritional health. All right. Western Conference. We got the Calgary Flames versus the Dallas Stars. Game 1 tonight. Flames are a big favorite at -350. Gilbert, can you talk me into maybe we're not guys who like to bet on Dallas, but at plus 270, any chance they're a live dog here in the series?
There's a chance. I feel like the Western Conference has more big favorites, so it's a matter of finding which underdog is going to win the series. But the Flames just have been one of the best teams in the league for a few months now. I think since January 28th, they're 33. They have 33 wins, 33, 10-5. So like that's a great record there. Dallas is not a good road team, so this is going to be a series where home ice advantage is quite big, and that's going to be shown up in tonight's odds. Yeah, I would use Calgary maybe as a parlay piece with the Panthers if you don't want to go minus 1.5 games, but minus 1.5 games at around minus 140, minus 150 will probably be my best play in this series.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Again, nice opportunity to fade Dallas. Any sort of the like in 5 and 6 and 7, those jump out at you?
I think I sprinkled in 5 at plus 3/110 just because Dallas I think will win at least one of their home games. Calgary is really good though, so I can see them in 5 or 6 depending on whichever is your preference.
Yeah.
Fun.
Any way to get some plus odds, I'm in.
Fun, completely unrelated fact. Obviously, we fade Dallas here.
Yes.
On the show, we also fade teams that are thefted from the great state of Minnesota. Minnesota, we love Minnesota. We love their hockey teams up there. And did you know one of the reasons cited as to why this team was moved is that in a sexual harassment lawsuit against the owner, he basically his wife threatened that he needed to move the team or else.
What?
So perhaps just a cursed franchise is my point. So yeah, I like the idea of finding some
hockey doesn't belong in
parlay.
Dallas. All right.
It's all glitz and glamour, water towers and football.
Not a hockey town. Edmonton Oilers though, that's a hockey town. Squaring off against the LA Kings. Kings got out to a 1-game lead here, 4-3. Good game between the Kings and the Oilers. Now this series is pretty much squared up. Oilers minus 110, Kings minus 110. Kind of a toss up here, Connor. Which way are you leaning for the series?
Yeah, this is one of the series in the West that I did take the underdog here. I took the Oilers before the series at plus 200. So I mean the Kings at plus 200. Sorry, because the Oilers they choked last year in the playoffs. They got swept by the Jets coming in as favorites, and they have McDavid, they have Draisaitl, but as we saw in Game 1, Mike Smith is not a good goalie anymore. He's too high risk. He made a huge mistake late in the game that cost him that. So I feel like the Oilers maybe are worth a bet at minus 110, but I think the Kings are going to get it done. Even before the series, I threw a sprinkle down on Kings minus 1.5 games at plus 340. So I'm hoping that comes through.
Yeah,
I think the Oilers will get one back in Game 2 probably, but I still like the Kings in the series.
No, and off to a great start there with the plus 200 overall in the series.
Yeah, also the number 1 LA team in my personal power rankings in terms of teams I've adopted the most. Love my Kings. Sean, we should go to a game.
I'm totally down. Yeah, I mean, again, playoff hockey, fun to watch, electric environment to see in person. Now the Colorado Avalanche, massive favorites against the Preds, aka the Nashville Predators. Game 1 is tonight as we're taping this. I mean, again, Nashville plus 475, Avalanche minus 650. Make me a case for the Predators pulling out this upset.
I don't know if I really can. If they had their starting goalie UC Saros, they definitely could. He's a much better goalie than Dave Rittich, who Big Save Dave doesn't really have it too much anymore. I think his save percentage was under 900.
Big Save Dave. We got to do better as a goalie nickname, right? Like, come on.
I feel like it's a lot better than other hockey nicknames. They're just adding like C at the end of people's names. So
yeah, pretty lazy.
It's more than that. But yeah, this is a series where maybe sprinkle the Preds if you want to just root for chaos and root for underdogs, because anything can happen in the NHL playoffs. But Avalanche even minus 2.5 games is minus 110, so that would be them in 5. But I took them Avalanche to win Game 1 as well as the series at minus 200. I feel like that's pretty safe. They could get off to a good start and then be able to close it out.
Sean, do you know why they're called the Nashville Predators?
No.
I'll put you on the spot here. Because there were bones of a saber-toothed tiger found in the Nashville area. And
I did know they were that. Yeah, they had that like giant cat as their mascot.
Nashville
Preds. What about live betting? I know WinBet offers a bunch of live betting options, but I imagine in the NHL playoffs, maybe some good live betting opportunities. Do you have any sort of approach to like, hey, they're down 2-0. I think they're going to get back in. I'm going to hammer X, Y, or Z. Do you have any like system when it comes to live betting?
Yeah, I love live betting. It's one of the things we do in the Slack channel there. I usually look at if there's a big shots on goal differential with a team losing. If they're up by a bunch of shots and losing by 2, I would take them +1.5, +2.5. Sometimes if I bet on an underdog and they go up by 2, I try to hedge my bet. Also hit a middle with the team that was the favorite +1.5. I've hit a few middles that way.
Oh,
yeah, these are two. There's going to be series between 2 good teams, and if one of the teams goes down early, it's going to be back and forth games. I could see that, even though it didn't happen last night in the Maple Leafs Lightning series. I could see those games being back and forth tonight. If the Capitals get a lead on the Panthers, definitely bet the Panthers live. They're one of the best comeback teams in the league. So yeah, live betting is one of my favorite things to do here, and the playoffs just ramp it up even more.
And not to tout the Slack again, but I mean, you're basically getting to sit inside the boardroom of a massive betting contingent.
Yes, the syndicate,
and just ask questions. I mean, the syndicate will open arms, just like Michael Strahan has put his wing over Kayvon Thibodeau. The hockey Slack channel will.
No need to crowbar the Giants into a beautiful hockey playoff preview. You got the Minnesota Wild right now. They're +165 dog against the St. Louis Blues. Blues -200 for the series because they got out to a nice Game 1 win, running it on the Wild 4-0. I know your play here originally was over 5.5 at -185. That would make me think maybe some value on the Wild because you think this is a series that will go 6, go 7, +165. Do you like them for the series, or are you just riding out your total here?
Yeah, this series is definitely going to go long. I could see it going 7 games very easily. The Wild definitely have some value there at +165. I'm trying to keep my eye on all games last night. I saw the Wild hit the post a few times. Marc-Andre Fleury didn't play too well. Maybe they'll go to Cam Talbot game 2. The Blues, I think they had a heavy advantage in the season series though against the Wild. These are if you want playoff hockey, this is going to be playoff hockey. 2 physical teams, 2 rivals. They know each other. It's going to be a back and forth type of series, back and forth type of games. Even if you want to live bet there, so I think the Wild do have some value at +165 after going down 1-0.
Zigzag theory, Ryan. You're welcome.
I kind of like it. Also, for no good reason, I've always fancied 2 teams I hated: St. Louis Blues, outside of the Rangers, of course. The St. Louis Blues and the Chicago Blackhawks. Fun fact: Minnesota Wild apparently isn't a popular name. A lot of people think it's stupid. But do you know what it beat out, Sean? The Blue Ox, Northern Lights, the Voyagers, the White Bears, and the Freeze. The Freeze would have been pretty dope.
I kind of like what was that?
The Blue Ox.
The Blue Ox sounds like a very hockey name, like
Paul Bunyan and his axe. It's very
just
Minnesota.
A giant blue ox. Like you put one of the players inevitably like a bigger guy is going to be called the Blue Ox. You can have Paul Bunyan as your mascot. Like it really writes itself.
I'm definitely minus EV on this show.
Now, Ryan, I got to ask you. If I had to get a Flyers hockey jersey right now, who am I getting? Am I getting a guy that's on the team? Am I getting an all-timer? What am I doing?
I think you're still getting a Claude Giroux here if you can. If I have to be forced into someone on the team, probably either Carter Hart or Joel Farabee. Joel Farabee, Claude Giroux talked him up pretty good before leaving. Farabee's still only 21 or 22, already one of the best players on the team. So I feel like they should keep him, have him locked up for a long time. So Farabee or Hart would be my two active guys.
He's put some thought into that question before.
Yeah.
So that was, you asked the right person.
I'm looking at these Giroux jerseys that are on a nice discount, and I'm saying, do I go Giroux or do I get one of the new guys?
Is Hockey Sean waking up from hibernation?
It's tough without the Flyers in the playoffs. That's usually when Hockey Sean emerges from his sleep there.
Hockey Sean's like when the Hulk goes back to regular size and he's naked. He needs a jersey to cover up.
Exactly. I need some sort of clothing. I'm talking jerseys because we haven't gotten to it, but we are giving away a jersey via the Hockey Gambling Podcast. All you got to do is follow them on Twitter at HockeySGPN. Follow us on Twitter at Gambling Podcasts. Subscribe to their podcast, and then they have a link to the bracket challenge. And first place will get a NHL jersey of their choice. When does the bracket challenge lock, Gilbert?
I believe it locks on Wednesday, right before 7 p.m., right before the start of the first game 2. So I believe
still
that's
time.
Over 24 hours now of recording this. So if you're listening to this on Wednesday, get in.
Plenty
Follow
of
us on
time.
Twitter at HockeySGPN. We got the tweet pinned there. Yeah, chance to win a great jersey.
Shout out to the YouTube chat, Lane Elliott saying, what's up, fellas? I'm on the Caps +1.5 and over 6.5 in the Nashville Avs game tonight. And then he's saying Hockey Sean greater than Hoodie Durant. Cousin Bush wondering what will happen first: Kramer kicking the field goal or Hockey Sean on skates.
Oh, I don't want Sean on skates. I'd worry about the business.
It's not great for my ankles, but
we don't need Sean. Listen, if you're a fan of the Sports Gambling Podcast or anything that we do here, or anything that Sean's involved with, you don't want to see Sean on skates.
I can get around the rink like a couple times if my wife insists that we go ice skating. But yeah, that's about it. I haven't mastered the hockey stop. I do remember trying to impress girls in like middle school with a hockey stop, and that did not go well. If you tried to do a hockey stop in those like figure skate rentals that they give you,
no, it doesn't work, and you get a concussion. I mean, I
Yeah.
definitely hit my head on the ice hard enough to be knocked out.
A lot of concussions at the ice skating rink. All right, Western Conference odds, futures. Obviously, Avalanche are right up there at +130, Flames at +250, and then it goes kind of dark horse stuff at Blues 750, Oilers 10-1. Any Western Conference action you're on here, Gilbert?
I wish the odds for the Avalanche were better, just because they're such a good team. And they're finally healthy for the playoffs for the first time. They were missing some of their key pieces throughout the regular season, but +130, there's no value, there's no fun there. So let's go down a little bit. Flames +250. I feel like they're going to definitely make the conference final. It's not a very fun bet. Blues, they've done it before. If they can figure out Billy Husso can manage the workload of a starting goalie, 7.5-1 isn't bad. Of the other 5, I would probably take the Wild, just because they could get one of their goalies to go on a run. They have 2 guys they can turn to. If they can get past the Blues, the Avs have been known to choke in the second round recently, so they could make a run.
All right, I like that. A little long shot action. What about the and we'll get to those Wednesday night games in a second, but would be remiss not to hear you weigh in on the future market itself for the the Stanley Cup itself. I mean, you could start at the Predators at 50-1, work your way down. Leafs 8-1, Hurricanes 8-1, Flames 650. Sounds like Avalanche, as chalky as it is, at +325. Interesting. Panthers at +450. That one kind of stood out to me. But what are you leaning here?
Yeah, I think Panthers +450 is a good bet. If you want to get bet on the Avalanche, bet it as soon as possible, because once they win a few games, it's going to go down. I really do like the Hurricanes, though, +800. They were one of the best teams throughout the regular season, and I feel like that's kind of a disrespectful line to them. It was +1,000 or higher before winning game 1, so there's still some value there. And then looking at the long shots, Lightning for a 3-peat, 14-1. Don't hate that. And then Bruins or Wild at 20-1, something like that.
I was going to say,
want a long shot.
Could have swore I heard Ryan say that we have a Minnesota Wild team that can rely on a couple different goalkeepers. And what always happens in the playoffs?
Someone starts standing on their head.
All
Ryan.
right, that's that. Play the big dog. DMX is a hockey fan. Yeah, I like that Wild play.
All right, closing things out before we get to the Wednesday night action. Shout out IP Vanish. Hey, whatever you're doing on the internet, that's between you and the internet. You don't want your you're fired up incognito mode. You think no one knows what you're up to? Sure, it could be advertisers, hackers, ISPs. Who knows who's looking at your internet traffic? You don't know unless you're using a secure connection, aka a VPN. And the VPN we know, the VPN we trust, IP Vanish. And the best part about IP Vanish is it doesn't slow down your speed. You can hide your location. You can even use it on streaming devices like a Fire Stick. Best part is 70% off their yearly plan and a 30-day money back guarantee. Again, if you try it out, you don't like it for whatever reason, 30-day money back guarantee. That's great. And 70% off their yearly plan. You're getting 9 months for free. That's crazy. IPVanish.com/SGP. IPVanish.com/SGP. Coming back to the Wednesday night action. We got the Bruins. +100 on the puck line. Hurricanes -120. Total sitting at 5.5. What are you doing here, Gilbert?
I think the Hurricanes are going to get it done again. I feel like my better play here would be the under 5.5, especially just at even money. It was a 3-1 game till late in the third period, and the Hurricanes scored one, and then the Bruins pulled the goalie for an empty net goal. Screwing my under 5.5 in game one.
See, that's why I'm always afraid of touching the total, is because of the empty netter. Like, that's such a brutal way to lose an under. Or I guess on the other side, what an awesome way to hit an over with an empty netter.
Yeah, but the Bruins pulling the goalie down by 3 was just a little bit too much for me. But this would be one of the games where maybe you use that win bet, build your own bet feature, and do a Bruins +2.5 under 6.5. I see a 4-2 game or something like that, maybe 3-2. Could see go to overtime here. So something like that you could look for this Bruins Hurricanes game.
That's fun.
I can visibly see hockey Sean waking up inside of Sean right now. He's getting excited. Talking about
building your own bet and same game parlays. This one should be a good matchup. Lightning looking to bounce back against their brutal loss to the Leafs. +100, Leafs -120. Total sitting at 6.5. I mean, how do I not just hammer the Lightning +100 here?
Yeah, that's the move here. You take the Lightning, even money. Hopefully you get better odds there. Maybe go +105, +110, but still even money. They had a bad game one. They could not capitalize on an early 5-minute power play. If they were able to score one there, maybe it's a different game. And also, Andrei Vasilevsky had a horrible game one. He's been great in the playoffs after a loss. So bet them at +100 to even up the series.
Yeah,
unrelated but related. Lots of tickets coming in on the old Toronto Maple Leafs.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would almost be the opposite, like to the point that we were hammering home. It's so obvious that they will choke it away, like they just have some historic choke job.
Not everyone's this sharp, Sean.
Not everyone is familiar with their historic choking.
No.
All right, we got the St. Louis Blues squaring off against the Minnesota Wild. Blues are +105, Wild are -125. Total sitting at 6. Now, what about the spreads? I've just been giving out the money lines here, but how often do you dabble with the spreads, in particular with playoff hockey?
Yeah, spreads are, like you said, with the empty net goal for the over/under. You also sometimes need to rely on that or not have that happen for the spreads. With the playoffs, I don't like taking them too much. I took it last night for the Kings against the Oilers because Kings play a lot of close games, a lot of overtime games, and +1.5 was like -150. But otherwise, like in this game, for example, Wild -1.5 +195, Blues +1.5 -240. That's too much juice in the Blues.
Yeah.
So if you think the Wild are going to win and win in regulation, what I would do is I would bet maybe to win a unit on the Wild -125, and then a half unit, maybe a little bit less than that, on the puck line, just to root for kind of a blowout or an empty netter towards the end.
Yeah. So what about this game though? On the money line, which way are you looking here?
Yeah, I said before, I think it'll be a long series. I don't know if the Wild have announced a goalie yet. I could see them going with Cam Talbot. Both Talbot and Fleury played well end of the regular season. I think the Blues are not going to be able to win both games in Minnesota. So I'll probably be betting Minnesota -125 here.
Zigzag on the ice, Sean. I'm liking it.
Let's go. All right. We do have
and real quick.
Yes.
I actually, I was kind of, I was popping around, sticking my head in the old WinBet engine. Sean, did you know that they have an offer going right now, a hockey parlay bonus offer?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, we already talked about this.
Yes.
And I wasn't
I mentioned it in the.
Never. I got excited.
You got a
50% rebate on a win, lose, or push 4-teamer, $20 or more.
Yep. I didn't have the exact details, but I encourage people to go. Yeah. I kind of teased it. I said they have some sweet hockey parlay.
That's
action.
A positive EV offer right there.
And money back. Love it. Kings.
I should start listening to the WinBet portion.
That's of the all right. You're doing your stuff over there, Ryan, during the ad reads. Los Angeles Kings, Edmonton Oilers. Kings are +160. Oilers -195. Total sitting at 6.5. Now, Kings, obviously, they won the first game. Can they pull out a second here? You would think Edmonton, awesome bounce back opportunity, but at +160, I could go either way. What are you doing, Gilbert?
Yeah, the Oilers, if they're going to bounce back, it has to be now, because if they go down 2-0 again, it's going to back to LA. It's going to creep in. They're going to get swept. But I think, you mentioned it, asked about it before. I think the Kings +1.5, -150 is a good play here. It's going to be a tight game. It almost went to overtime in game one. And I also do like the under 6.5 at -115. I liked it in game one. There was some goaltending issues, and I could see the Oilers playing more responsibly, more defensively after a few Mike Smith gaffes in game one. So I could see a 3-2 game here, something like that.
Guy I know who knows hockey really well seemed very appalled that the Kings were allowed in the playoffs, calling them a quote shit hockey team this year. So yeah, fade the Kings.
All right, now which one of these, Gilbert, is given the Ryan Gilbert official lock approval? And I'm looking at your NHL picks record, available on our site and on our app as well. Your overall lock record is insane. 266 and 135.
Oh my God.
Your overall record also 598 and 411 losses, picking over well over 1,000 games of hockey. Very impressive record. What are the locks for Wednesday night?
I feel like the locks would be here. The Lightning +100. I think they're going to bounce back with Vasilevsky. And then the under in that Kings Oilers game. I think it's going to be a slower paced game with the Oilers trying to control things.
Now, we're doing this live, so the podcast listeners probably won't get this in time. I'm looking at your Tuesday picks. There are 4 games. You have 3 of them are locked. Hypothetically, a podcast host is looking to get down on some action hockey wise.
Well, you can't afford all 3, Sean.
Maybe I can, or maybe I can parlay them. But any quick thoughts for the live listeners on Tuesday's slate?
Yeah, I'll just run quickly through my bets here. I have the Rangers -130. They beat the Penguins the last 3 meetings. You got Shesterkin at home. He's been incredible. So I got a unit on that. I have Capitals Panthers over 6.5. Panthers just score over 4 goals a game. Capitals with Ovi, they can score. I have the Avalanche race to 4 goals at -140, kind of a sneaky play there rather than betting on the team total, because I can't see the Predators scoring 4, and Avs should be able to do that. And I'm on the over in that game, 6.5. I could see Avalanche scoring 5 or 6 themselves, and the Predators sneaking in 1 and 2. Then a fun parlay. I have the Flames, Avs, and Panthers all -1 parlayed together. So that includes overtime. So if they win by 1, it's a push, but it gets you a little bit better value than on the money line.
So the Flames, Avalanche, and Panthers as a parlay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on.
Place your bets, please.
Just and if you do it as a money line, plus 170. So that's not bad. If you just did it as a straight money line, so 3-teamer Panthers, Avs, Flames. All right, just entering that in. All right, this is a lot of fun, Ryan, and of course, make sure you check out the Hockey Gambling Podcast, available wherever you get great podcasts. Give Ryan a follow on Twitter as well at @RGilbertSOP, and make sure you enter the contest. Get your chance to win a free jersey. Start off by just going to twitter.com/hockeysgpn. Get you going there, and all the instructions very simple, very easy. And any other final bold prediction before we let you go, Ryan?
My Stanley Cup prediction is Panthers over Flames.
All right, there you go. Ryan's really stretching deep with the sound effects.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Soy Boy had a salad today.
There you go. He's all fired up. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He is Ryan.
Good to have you back, NHL, aka Hockey Sean
Kramer. Let it ride.